So next we're going to call up the Minutemen and Linda and Jeff Paul from Morris County OEM.
I'm Linda Omaggio, I'm the president of Morris Minutemen. I'm joined tonight by Jeff Paul from Morris County Office of Emergency Management. He's the director there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the Township Committee for giving us some time. I know you have a full agenda tonight, so we'll be as brief as possible in order to give you the information you need and answer any questions you may have. Just a very brief history of the Morris Minutemen. We are the first aid squad for Morris Township and Morris Plains. We were incorporated in 1941 as volunteers and have done emergency medical services for both towns since then with volunteers. We're run by volunteers and we serve, all our members are volunteers. But that is getting increasingly difficult to run an organization with complete volunteers. As many of you have heard, other volunteer organizations have the same issues trying to get and maintain volunteers. So very briefly, in order to maintain our high level of emergency medical services for our two towns, and we are on duty providing those services 24/7, 365. So we're pretty busy. We average maybe 2,500 calls a year. If you average that out, that's maybe 7 or 8 per day of 911 calls. So we have done very well in the past with our volunteer base. We were blessed with a lot of volunteers, but over the past 2 years we realized we cannot sustain that level of service as our volunteers leave us for various reasons. So for the past few months, Jeff and I have put our heads together and come up with some plans, some ideas, and I think you've seen some of the initiative already. We're kind of partnering with the Morris Minutemen will kind of partner with Morris County to help fill some of our gaps in coverage that we have during the week. That's our greatest need right now for volunteers to get the ambulances out, or Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have worked very well together. And if Jeff would like to say some words about what we're doing together.
Sure. Thank you, and good evening. Thank you much for the opportunity to talk to you about this partnership. So what Linda expresses is nothing new. It's not specific to the Minutemen. This is a statewide, national issue with regards to volunteer organizations that have the same type of issues during the day coverage. So what we have done in Morris County, courtesy of the freeholders who are the ones that are financing this initiative, is we were asked by a number of municipalities what the county could do to support the local squads and certainly support volunteerism so volunteerism could flourish and continue. What could the county do to support that process? So that was what resulted in the development of the Morris County EMS program. So when we sat down to develop what we wanted it to look like, we looked at a few different models and we knew what we didn't want to do. We didn't want to create a model that resulted in residents in a community having to pay for the service because that certainly would go towards supporting volunteers, and when the squad and their bulk of their budget is the result of donated money from the municipality and the residents. We wanted that to continue. So our model is a model that allows us to partner with volunteer organizations like the Minutemen and other squads throughout the county and support them when they have gaps in coverage. So it really is about effective communication. It's about using electronic scheduling, and it's about having a plan to make sure you have 24/7 coverage in a town, whether it's their ambulance, whether it's ours, whether it's us in their ambulance, whatever the situation is. As long as we can put an ambulance to a patient in a very quick period of time, that's really the goal of the program. So the county Freeholders, when it was developed at the time, did not want the residents to pay for any services. And quite frankly, the only ambulance service that legally can do what we're doing is a government-sponsored program because, in essence, the taxpayers are already paying for those services through their taxes. So, so we support the Minutemen in a number of ways. It doesn't impact them financially because we want residents to continue to support the volunteer squad. And if they get a blue ambulance, a white ambulance, doesn't much matter. They get an ambulance, they get appropriate care, they get taken to a facility. So, the Minutemen have a phenomenal organization. They've been looked at for many, many years as a state-of-the-art facility. And quite frankly, we're looking for this model that we're doing with the Minutemen to serve as a model for other communities. Tell people, hey, you have to look at it. You can't do it the way you have done it traditionally in the past. And today, you're part of a regional dispatch center, as many other departments are. So we have the ability, we know where the ambulances are, we track, there's GPS tracking, so we have technology. So, saying that we don't have the ability to put an ambulance to a patient is not accurate anymore. We have the technology, so people expect us to use that. So kudos, quite frankly, to the leadership of the Minutemen to, recognize what is happening everywhere, and just working on a plan to do what we're doing. And I really want to thank the freeholders for having the forethought and the willingness to fund us. Hopefully we'll hear that from you guys as well, because really that is what keeps organizations like the Minutemen afloat, being able to support them when they can. We're not a contracted service, so we don't come in and take over. We're not a Monday through Friday, be there every day service. We work cooperatively with the local squad, whatever town that is, and basically, when you need us, and we schedule accordingly, and we back them up when we need to. They're also covering a number of the county buildings, so it works out well for us. We're kind of located geographically together. I'm a township resident, and I happen to live on Mill Road, so I'm kind of invested in the street, from the top end to the low end. Thank you so much for your time. Certainly, either one of us can answer any questions you have, but we call this a win-win. I don't know if there's any downside to kind of what we're talking about, really. It's about getting appropriate care to a patient when they need it. Thank you very much.
That's great. I have one question. You guys have an implementation date yet?
We have been implementing. We've been doing coverage. We're getting a more formal process together that's being worked out between the county legal team and the attorneys representing the Minutemen, just some insurance issues, and this stuff that has to be put into place. So as soon as, you know how it works with the attorneys, no offense, John. It's a billable hour thing, I think.
Just wondering if it needs to be a mutual aid agreement, or if the Minutemen, which are really a privately incorporated entity, will contract with the county to provide the service.
Right, and that's what's happening. So, but all joking aside, they're very aggressive working on it, and they have great, really great attorneys that are very entrenched in statewide EMS issues. And the county actually has subbed it out to an attorney that's involved in EMS, so it's being addressed at that level, and we expect that should all be done rather shortly. But meantime, we're doing it anyway. We're just kind of, going to formalize it. Thanks.
You want to go first? Okay. Can you just briefly go over kind of what, just explain what, if there are any differences, we'll see with this agreement, the county EMTs, will they be at the station, or will the ambulance go, wherever the county, because I know you guys do it by location and things like that. Will the EMTs remain at the Minutemen headquarters, or will they go somewhere else?
When the county, good question. When the county ambulance is covering the Minutemen, they're local in the municipality. Morris Township, Morris Plains, no differently. Sometimes actually at the building. So we're not coming from Rockaway, right, or somewhere else. So if we're scheduled to cover, it's going to be one of two ways. Either we're going to be in a county ambulance covering, or we're going to be in a Minutemen ambulance covering. So those are two different ways. The county model is that we bill for insurance funding only. So if there is insurance for the coverage, then we bill for that. But there's no out-of-pocket expenses, there's no copay, there's no deductibles, there's none of that. with the county service. If insurance doesn't exist, there's no charges, there's no bills that ever arrive at anybody's home, other than, potentially seeing a statement of benefits that knowing that your insurance takes some dollars off. But, so that basically subsidizes the program. We're not a profit-making entity at all. We can't really do that on the model we're doing it. So it takes, pays for some of the equipment, it takes the sting out of the overall expenses, but it's a government-sponsored program. So in short, we're local when we're coming, unless we're coming in from a mutual aid from somewhere.
Gotcha. And for the Minutemen, I know like for the licensing and things like that, it's going, it's under the county, I guess registration or something like that for the ambulance, right? Does that impact the volunteers' ability to use that apparatus, or is it remain the same for the volunteers?
The one ambulance that will be licensed under the county ambulance will be used by the county staff, because the way the state of New Jersey restricts licensing, actually, initially we were okay with it being used by anybody, but the attorneys representing the Minutemen suggested that that not be the case, that ambulance be restricted, because it will have to be placarded and licensed under our license, and any violations we would get those violations regardless of who was in it. So that ambulance will be restricted to the county, like there's a county person in it. However, the Minutemen and the volunteers and those crews will have first dibs on, obviously, they're controlling the coverage.
Right.
So if they're on and they're staffed, then they're doing their thing, and if they're not, then they will have previously arranged for us to coverage with one of a couple of witnesses.
Okay. Thank you for all the work you and both you and Linda are doing for this, on behalf of the residents of not only our township, but also Morris Plains. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Peter?
We're doubly blessed to have you here. First of all, doubly blessed to live in Morris Township and to have you people here to handle any emergencies that come up. You have no idea what a good feeling that is, and we thank you. Linda.
I'm very glad to hear of this too. Just one question I had. How many ambulances does the county anticipate having?
The county right now has 6. And that's, we're holding on that original.
I was just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want to add one thing. I have the pleasure of obviously being the OEM director and an EMS coordinator and a few other hats, but I have the pleasure of dealing with all of the emergency disciplines throughout the county, and certainly in Morris Township. I deal with, Danny Nunn and OEM, and I deal with fire department, with Jesse and Mike Nunn, and also, the police department with Chief DiCarlo and his crew, and Lieutenant Shearer and everybody else. So you really, I am a township resident, but I'm also, if I didn't have anything nice to say, I probably wouldn't say anything for those that know me. But I do have some nice things to say, and I really want to acknowledge the other disciplines that we interact with all the time. I mean, the police department, the fire department, and I'm going to single out OEM only because what OEM does in Morris Township, for Morris Township, is not, you don't see that in every town. You may see police and fire in every town at different levels, but you don't necessarily see the OEM outreach. And I know that there's a lot of volunteers and people that support that initiative, and certainly the fire and police are part of that as well. But it really is rewarding to see and refreshing to see that amongst all the disciplines in Morris Township, you really have top-notch services. And as a resident, I appreciate it. I've been in the business for a long time, and I was solving crimes with Administrator Quinn for many, many years, as was Danny. It's nice to see that you have those disciplines in place in Morris Township, so thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for those kind words, and thank you both for everything that you do for the community. We're lucky to have you both living here. Thank you.